Begin this hour with the continued fallout from President Donald Trump over the Jeffrey Epstein files and the calls for accountability from the Department of Justice. In a move seen as trying to win over the MAGA base, the DOJ filed a motion yesterday to unseal grand jury transcripts related to Jeffrey Epstein. There is no word yet from the federal judge whether he will agree to the request, but even so, the move would fall short of what some MAGA loyalists are calling for, which is the release of all documents and evidence related to the Epstein case. For embattled Attorney General Pam Bondi, this may be seen as a chance to try to get some relief from the MAGA calls for her ousting. According to new reporting from NBC News, Donald Trump has grown weary of having to defend Bondi's handling of the Epstein files and wants her to take responsibility for cleaning up the mess. That's according to 4 people familiar with White House deliberations. Joining us now, MSNBC political analyst and Boston Globe columnist Kimberly Atkins-Stohr. She is also the co-host of the #Sisters-in-Law podcast and former federal prosecutor and former lawyer with the DOJ National Security Division, Brendan Ballou. Thank you both very much for coming to the weekend. On this point about Attorney General Pam Bondi and the president being mad at her because she's not handling this well, the former Attorney General of the United States, Brendan, Eric Holder, was on All In with Chris Hayes on Thursday. Here's how he views what's happening in this whole Epstein mess with the president and the Attorney General. Let's just play this.
I think people need to ask themselves, in terms of the release of materials, do you really think that Pam Bondi and the Justice Department are making the determination as to what gets released? Or, because she is the lawyer for Donald Trump as opposed to the American people, or is her client, Donald Trump and the people in the White House, making the ultimate decision? And I think that it is clearly the White House that's making the determination about the release of these materials.
And so then, Brendan, if the president's upset, shouldn't he be upset with himself and the people around him?
Absolutely. You know, the stunning thing about this is this president is happy to ignore the laws when he wants to dismantle the Department of Education, when he wants to fire prosecutors, when he wants to cut off billions of dollars to aid to foreign countries. But when it comes to releasing the Epstein materials, he says that his hands are bound, that he has to respect this fairly obscure rule of federal rules of criminal procedure all of a sudden.
Right.
It strains credibility.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Kimberly, I want to get to the idea, and we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the 7, but I think it bears repeating, that it is not easy to have grand jury testimony out there.
Yeah.
So that's one question. Mm-hmm. 2, this grand jury testimony was about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Right.
Ghislaine's in jail. Epstein killed himself.
Right.
It probably doesn't have any information that the MAGA folks want to hear, which is, this cabal that they've been looking for years.
Yes, you're honing into the nub here, because this to me seems like a smoke and mirrors game. Is by calling for grand jury testimony to be unsealed. It sounds like, okay, we're giving them what they want.
Yes.
So
testimony.
So pertinent, right? So this is a tiny part of the total criminal file involving the Epstein prosecution. It would be very, very little information, and both Donald Trump and Pam Bondi knows this. Also, grand jury testimony is sealed routinely. You have to actually move to a judge to unseal it, which happens rarely and only in very specific situations. And if it is released, it's going to be heavily redacted, and the whole process will probably take months. So this is buying them time. This is trying to take the heat off, maybe throw their supporters who are, revolting a little bit of red meat, give them a little bit of hope just to get past the news cycle. But this is really not a lot of there.
Just to be clear, the supporters who are revolting as an action.
Yes.
Not as a description. Brendan, NBC had a story yesterday highlighting something that the ranking member on Senate Judiciary, Senator Dick Durbin, has a major concern. That I put this up and read this to you. In a series of oversight letters, Durbin questioned Patel about reports that he was pressured by Bondi to place 1,000 personnel on 24-hour shifts to mine roughly 100,000 Epstein-related records. He says, my office was told that these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. Why were personnel told to flag records in which President Trump was mentioned? Durbin asked Bondi, Patel, and Bongino in separate letters. Quote, what happened to the records mentioning President Trump once they were flagged? Brendan, talk about why just this request, if it's true, that they go 24-hour shifts, 100,000 pages, flagging anything that mentions President Trump. Why should the American people be concerned by that?
Well, it suggests that maybe President Trump is more involved than he'd like people to understand. You know, you're talking about the motion to reveal this information. One, that motion says, well, the government's going to redact any personally identifiable information. Presumably that would include references to President Trump. Second, this motion was 3.5 pages long, double-spaced. This is a document.
Been there.
It's like a college essay. This is a document designed to lose in court. They would like nothing more than to have a judge deny this request.
And why?
Well, because then they can throw their hands up and say, oh, well, we tried. It's this judge that's getting in the way and stopping
Activist
this.
judges.
And now there's a new enemy.
Absolutely
Now you
right.
have a new enemy.
That's right.
I want to play some sound from some MAGA personalities who are calling for a special counsel in the Epstein case.
Well, I would say special counsel is what seems to be what the American people are calling for.
I think moving forward, we need a special counsel. That has got to happen. There has to be a special investigation into this if we aren't going to be provided information.
I would love for this to actually, the special counsel to report directly to the office of the president.
Now, let's see what the White House press secretary had to say about that request.
Well, the idea was floated from someone in the media to the president. The president would not recommend a special prosecutor in the Epstein case. That's how he feels.
That's how he feels, Kimberly. He honestly, this is probably a good move because those special counsels, when they come in, they usually leave with something, you know.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember 10 minutes ago when special counsels were railed against and they pushed judges to strike them down as improper. But now suddenly, this is coming back up. Look, I think what is really important to remember is that, first of all, this is a self-owned by Donald Trump because he created this conspiracy.
They spread this conspiracy for
political
years.
reasons, which is a really dangerous thing to do. I'm old enough to remember also when a pizzeria in D.C. was shot up based on a conspiracy theory. It's a dangerous thing to do. Now he's trying to layer a different conspiracy theory on top of the first one, which isn't working, and he's Streisand affecting himself. If he had just left it alone, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. But it's also important that, listen, are there questions about the Epstein investigation that might still need answers? Yes. Might there be powerful people who have not been held to account? Yes. Are there real victims? Donald Trump is not a victim here. Whose lives were ruined by Jeffrey Epstein and other powerful people. And, there's a certain prince still walking around in England free. These are where the real questions ought to be. But instead, we're engaged in the political theater that's on top of what was a very, very serious situation. And that's really the most gut-wrenching part of all of it.
Right, and that's the thing that can't get lost in any of this discussion about the Epstein files is that there are victims, 1,000 victims.
Still walking around.
Still here.
Some of them around. Some of them are not.
One took her own life
Right.
earlier this year, so we cannot lose sight of the victims. But Brendan, we've been talking about Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and the president's upset with her handling of everything, and everyone's saying, oh, how long is she going to last? Now, this is from Tuesday, so in Trump time, that's, like last year. But she was asked at DEA headquarters if she was confident that she would remain in her role. Here's what she had to say.
Are you confident you're going to still be here to execute this? Because there's so many people calling for change at the Department of Justice.
I'm going to be here for as long as the president wants me here, and I believe he's made that crystal clear. It's 4 years. Well, 3.5 now, right? We've got 6 months in.
Brenda, I mean, in Trump world, she's probably going to stick around because he has long said, "Where's my Roy Cohn?"
Yeah.
And now he's got one.
Yeah, I mean, working in the Trump administration seems like it's a nightmare for everybody involved. It's a nightmare for those of us that are experiencing the Trump administration. But I think, I won't make any predictions here, but I think the one advantage that Pam Bondi has as opposed to her administration opponent, Dan Bongino, is that Pam Bondi's job is Senate confirmed and his isn't. And for that reason alone, there might be some reasons not to fire her and fire somebody else.
And because Trump has actually, everybody I've talked to in the White House said that Trump likes that the cabinet has not been shaken up like it was. Remember, every Friday, somebody
like,
was gone.
buckle up.
There were restaurants and bars around D.C. that were giving like free drinks on Friday if somebody got fired. And so we had a lot of free drinks that year. I want to look at the full screens of the Trump and Bondi social posts about the request for the grand jury material.
Yeah.
So Trump put on Truth Social, based on the ridiculous amounts of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked AG Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. He loves the courts all of a sudden. This scam perpetrated by the Democrats should end right now. President Trump from Bondi, we are ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. These posts were made 2 minutes apart. In a normal administration, a normal world, the president would just talk to the attorney general. Well, probably wouldn't talk to the attorney general.
Correct.
If there's no proper anything here.
Yeah.
But the fact that the president is giving his orders to Pam Bondi via social media when he shouldn't be giving her orders to begin with, it's all messed up.
All of it is broken, and that gets to a fundamental problem, is that we should not have a DOJ that operates at the beck and call of a president. That is something new. That is something that has not happened before at this level. And we are seeing, as you pointed out, she is now, you correctly said, her client is Donald Trump. Her client should be the people of the United States. But all of this is showing how broken the system is. These are guardrails that have fallen. And democracy is suffering for it. People may see that, not connect that when it comes to the Epstein story, but that's a really important facet of this.
Brendan, why should people at home care about that?
You know, the Department of Justice only works because it has credibility. And the credibility, the ability to persuade judges and juries to believe it. When the Department of Justice is perceived as political or is political, it loses all that credibility and it isn't able to do its job.
Kimberly and Brendan will be back with us later.